Welcome to Mindset Chatter. Today's fabulous guest, Ava Trepaz Roberts Field Hockey. Yay, Ava. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me at this lovely 11 o'clock in the morning for me, but
8 a.m. over this side of the world.
uh-uh.
It's all right. It's all right. I get up early. It's almost lunch.
Oh,
Okay, so this is kind of this pass of these podcasts, whatever we call these. I always say I can't remember if I thought of you or I thought of the topic first, but either way, you guys quickly got associated with each other, which is kind of serving others. Um, and I would love to chat through some different areas of that concept today.
awesome.
When I first reached out to you and told you like in service of others is what we'd be chatting about, what kind of thoughts came to your head initially?
I think like how to guide people into serving others, like first, like I know when I serve others a lot more than serving myself first, like that's kind of a battle that I think about. But kind of just like telling people like to have a good balance between serving others and also serving yourself. But it's also how like much you put into it. Like I love serving others because of the smiles I gain and the happiness and relationships I gain, but also it makes myself have a mental mindset of like, oh, like I'm a good person, I'm safe, I'm loved. Like it's best of both worlds. So I think like the first thing I thought about was just like, how can I project my caring personality upon others and how can they help serve others and not just like me doing it all the time as well.
Yeah, I kind of think you talked about kind of like the sense of community, balancing that with the sense of self.
Hmm.
I mean, how important do you feel for like your individual journey? And we could be talking your field hockey, your firefighting, your scholastic. How do you feel that kind of strong community helps with your sense of self?
It's so huge. It's like the biggest push and passion ever. Like if I don't have that strong sense of community, strong emotional support system, then I don't feel good myself to either help or serve others. And just to rely on those people to be like, hey, like, am I doing this okay? Am I feeling okay? Like, do I look okay to do it? Like stuff like that. Like to go back with somebody and just talk about it is so huge because when you are a very mental person and your aim is to please and help others, like, but you're not set yourself and you don't have anybody else to talk to about it, then you're not fit for servant leadership. And that community portion is like your foundation. It's like the ground. And you can just keep building and building upon it to make yourself feel so much better about yourself, but also having those friends to help you on the side. So you're not alone. And that's probably the biggest thing I love about having I like a small community because I'm being more intentional with my friends, my families, than having a huge amount of people that I have to worry about. So that's just like what I love community more.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when we think of community, we think a little too large.
Hmm.
And I think when if I'm going to call community circles, and you often hear you are the one of the average or you're the sum of the five people you associate with the most. If
Hmm.
if we think about that, so think about your community of five, and what's the like how beneficial is it from a community perspective when you have all five of those individuals thinking the way you just described?
It feels so, I feel loved. I feel safe and I feel like I'm being pushed and people can call out things that like I'm vulnerable. That's a good word. Like when I'm with people who can tell me like, hey, like I think this isn't working. I think like something needs to be changed, like and they can tell me that and it doesn't hurt my feelings. Like that is so big because then I'm not being judged. Being judged is a huge portion in a community, like if you have a big or small one, because then you're just you're always having that little whatever Tracy in the back of your mind saying, "Oh my gosh, like is this going to be right? Am I gonna be doing this the way that people want me to do?" But if you have that support system that isn't judging you but is critiquing you because they want to see you be better, that's huge. So I think back to your question of like how that all works together, it's just I just feel so comfortable in a space where I can grow and glow, but also be reliable about other people and not always being like worried about what they're gonna say in a mean or hurtful way.
Grow and glow. I like that. I don't think I've heard that before. That's a good one. Grow and glow.
Yeah,
Um,
it you could still grow, but you're also glowing while you're doing that because you're taking the time to make yourself better.
I love that. I love that you talked about the vulnerability and
Hmm.
um kind of the necessity of that in order to get over the fear of judgment. If and to
Hmm.
me that's one of the big three fears, right? We fear failure, we fear success, and we fear judgment. Talk about a little bit about the difficulty in getting to a spot where everyone in that community, or maybe to start with yourself even, um, being completely open, honest, and vulnerable, because I feel trying to get there even, you have to get through some fear of judgment.
Yeah, so kind of being totally open with other people is especially hard for me. I mean, don't do it a lot of times because as a first responder and you see a lot of things happening, you can't just be completely open with your emotions. You have to be like face down, be like, okay, like we have to get the job done. And I hide a lot of the stuff like when people talk about stuff and be like, hey, like how do you really feel about this? I'm just like, oh, I feel fine. But like I mean, I don't want to like be totally open with them because then like I don't want to seem too vulnerable to the point that like when I want to work at a higher level job agency that like people be like, oh, like she got like ticked off about this little thing and it like made her really angry. I'm just like, I don't want that to be a picture of myself. But also the flip side is like I want people to know how I feel, what ticks me off and stuff like that, especially like when I want to get into a relationship, like that is a huge portion. But I think it's just how you present yourself in like different scenarios. Like, hey, like if it's a little bit of like a like tick off that like makes me angry, like okay, like maybe I'll be like, yeah, it's all right now. But then like once it's a repetition of events, and I'm like, okay, this is actually starting to get me angry, and I'll show my emotion more openly and honestly than being just kind of stone-faced and like, hey, like I'm okay. And I still do that a lot with a lot of friendships and relationships, but like the more that I'm being vulnerable with my friends and the more that I'm also being vulnerable back to them, then I'm like, okay, we know each other very well that like even the look at you, I can tell like something's making you angry. So like those type of relationships like are very much more like happier for me to be open to.
I think you said first responder, which I could go in a number of different ways with, but oddly enough, I was watching a replay of Chicago Fire last night, and you made me think of the one of the paramedics. It was she almost did exactly what you said, right? She was so focused on serving the community, doing what she needed to do to help in the moment, that
Hmm.
she like crashed and burned when she was done because of all this stuff she was feeling and had witnessed.
Yeah.
How do you like think about field hockey a little bit maybe? How do you take back the constant helping the community, doing what you think you're needed to, and the stress of that? How does that impact the way you look at your individual performance when you come back to focusing on yourself a bit?
Um, I kind of something that popped in my head was like when we had a girl injured during one of our games and my, response system flipped right on, but like I was told like you're on our team, you gotta stay on the sideline, like that's the normal field hockey person. But like I was like, I need to help this girl. She's down. Like that was my serving community first, besides like I'm standing with my team and this is like a different world to be working with. So I think like I just have to I don't know. This is like a hard question because like I always pick community over myself first, and it's definitely a big battle because I have learned to, you know what? Here, I got you. So I think when I pick are you asking like how I pick myself first sometimes over the community? Is that like,
Well, kind of the struggle of, dealing with the emotions of working with the community, being so selfless with your community and then having to focus back on maybe things you want to work on yourself, if that made better sense.
Yeah. I think like I have those emotions they're all the time, but I'm not gonna say like suppress them, but like I think about other stuff that's more priority at the time. Like if I'm like during field hockey practice and like something's going on and I'm like worried about it, or like I had a patient earlier and I'm just like thinking about her or him, but I'm at field hockey practice, like I'll take that emotion and I'll put it into gameplay of like how hard I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play for this girl. I'm gonna play for this guy I just like took care of. Like especially when we do like breast cancer awareness games, like or like any type of health stuff. Like I'm like I am playing my heart out because I know how much they are fighting for their survival while I'm fighting for them in the field. So it's kind of like not suppressing the emotions, but taking it and actually making them bigger, but I'm being actionable with them is a positive way. But it's definitely hard when like I have patients that I've known for a long time and like they come back and back and I'm just like I've never seen them get better. Those emotions do kind of suppress a little bit in my mind just because I really can't find a way to make them like me, like, oh, I'm just gonna play them out because I just can't stop thinking about them all the time. But usually I like to talk about them to like my close friends, being like, how can I like take this emotion and put it into actionable play so then I could feel like, hey, like as long as like I'm thinking about them, putting them up with the Lord, then like I have that advantage of like they're going to be okay as long as I'm putting my full effort into it.
I liked you talked about kind of maybe giving it your all or maybe giving it a little more. I'm not sure you can give 110%. Um, for like a cause, for like
Yeah.
something you're passionate about. Um, I mean, how it keeps perspective, right? It's like, man, this is
Mhm.
really hard for me, but this is easy compared to some people. I mean,
Yeah.
how much of a motivating drive is it for you to tackle the difficult things, or you're looking at a huge obstacle that you're not sure you can tackle? How motivating, how much confidence does it give you putting in perspective that, oh, in comparison, this is nothing?
I think it's about how much personal effect it has on me. Like if it's like an obstacle where like, oh, I've done it before, then I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. Like I don't need like a ton of motivation or confidence. But if it's like a personal like connection, I'm just like, and it's either negative or positive. I'm like, oh, like I need more time to like think about it and more time to put more effort into it. And also, I think just like how much it will affect me in the future. The obstacle will, because there's like many obstacles I go through every single day, or we all go through every single day. But sometimes there's obstacles where like you look at it and you're like, oh, you look big, but like you look long. Like it's a long-term thing where like it will come back to me in the future. And like how will I deal with it now and how will I deal with it in 5 years? Like will it be different? Will I think about it differently? Will I put the same effort in? And that's what I like to think about as obstacles. Like, I love thinking ahead. I always think about what's affecting me now, how it's gonna be better me in the future. So those obstacles I deal with now, I'm like how more important it is, nor how much effort I should put into it.
I think it's interesting the coming back to looking at the obstacle or rethinking the way we approach it, because there's some saying that says like every time you step in a river, it's a different experience because you're different and the river's different.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The river's always flowing and we're always growing. Hey, there's one flowing and growing.
Growing and growing.
And with your hold it, something and glowing. Uh,
Glow and grow.
yes, that one.
Yeah.
But you made me think of that because I think sometimes maybe stepping away and giving ourselves a few breaths or a few
Mm-hmm.
weeks of breath to relook at something might, it just makes it different. Maybe we're in a different mindset or maybe something has shifted. Um, and I assume you've seen a lot of that with how you responded.
Yeah, I think that I rather put all my effort in and still fail, and that makes you feel successful because you know what? I put all my effort in as long as I can do it. And to be honest with you, I like failure because I like to be told that like, listen, like this wasn't working for you, but this can work better. Or like, hey, like I learn from every mistake I make. Okay, that sounds weird. I don't love making mistakes, but I love the I love the learning curve from the mistakes. Like no one's perfect. I'm never gonna do anything perfect. I may have the titles, I may have the certifications to do things, but it's never gonna be perfect. And everybody's different. So I love taking that failure, like hardships, and just looking at it. I'm like, you know what? You didn't hurt me that much because you know what? I can still come back and do it better. And that's like the my mindset. I have a really like hard rock mindset. That's what I think.
Hard rock. Um,
It's
I
rock.
I like the emphasis on learning and growing out of the unsuccessful attempt at something, the
Hmm.
failure, just that growth mindset. But so a lot of times we hold back a piece of ourselves where, we're like, I want an excuse if it doesn't work out. How important do you think it is to for you or for anyone to not give themselves an out, not give themselves an excuse? You talked about I gave it everything I could. Are there times that you've held something back and regretted it because you're like, oh man, maybe I would have made it if I hadn't?
Yeah, I think that's a normal thing that people do, especially when you have a lot of pressure on you and you're so young. Well, my age, I'm very young for what I do a lot of things, and I'm like, oh, if I only like spent more time doing this, I would know this, or like if only I was just like my father when he was my age. But I'm like, I'm never gonna be like that because circumstances were different, environment was different, the opportunities I had taken is different. And I think I'm just like, you know what? What I have and what I'm doing now is so much more greater than I ever thought I could be 5 years ago. Like looking back, I'm like, I never would have thought of how I went through things, who I am now. I'm just gr like, I'm gonna say grateful, but like I'm also just like cherishing the moments that I still have with people. Like I'm perfect the way I am. I mean, people like me who I am, and you know what? That's all that matters. I don't need to be liked by every single person, but I'm not making excuses for like something that I did wrong because we all make mistakes. I mean, yes, there's times where I'm like, "Ooh, that I should not have done that. That was definitely not what I should have done." But you know what? One mistake is someone else's script that they can write in their book. Be like, you know what? I learned something from this person, but I can make a story about it later, which I like a lot because the people that help me throughout my mistakes are just my mentors, and I want more. I want more learning.
Yeah, I like that. Again, I can't remember the quote exactly, but Edison, the guy who invented the light bulb, he was asked something. It was something like, "Well, how did you feel about failing 10,000 times?"
That's
And his
great.
response was, "I didn't fail 10,000 times. I learned 10,000 ways not to do it."
Hmm.
So I really like that mindset. The other thing you kind of talked about on that was, I don't know, the just that unwillingness to let other people define what's right or wrong or good about your individual journey. Uh,
Yeah.
because I failed at something certain ways, it doesn't mean you will, or maybe you learn from that. I think it's just an interesting perspective and a very, I don't care about the external world.
Hmm.
You touched on another one of my favorite topics, though, too, is like using our inexperience as an excuse. I mean,
Yeah.
how often do we see it like, oh, I'm only a freshman, so I'm not going to be able to do this, or I've only been playing this for 2 months and I'm not going to be able to do it. How much does that really limit our, like, what the story we tell ourselves because of our lack of experience? How's that really kind of dampen our chances at succeeding?
It does a lot because I mean, there's freshmen who are stars of their team. There's people who just graduated school and that are stars of their service. Like, and it's just how much how much care you put into what you're doing. Like, you can become a senior, but like you can give minimal effort because you're like, like I'm a senior, I'm guaranteed playing time. But I'm like, but look at the freshman who works every single day after practice, does individual time, studies, watches film. Like, though that girl or boy is gonna grow up and be playing time more than the senior because the senior thinks that she's like because I have the seniority. And I'm like, That's a lot that, and then I get a lot in the fire service, like the people who have been in the service for years but don't do the recertifications, don't like to follow on protocols. They just are like, I've been here for 10 years. I know how this works. But we modernize every single year. We try to get better with the community. We try to see what everybody else around us is doing so then we can work better with them. Just because you have a bigger badge on your helmet doesn't mean that you know more than me. But I also want to take myself as like, hey, maybe they have better stories I should listen to, how they learn differently from different mistakes, but I may be more capable of doing it than them right now. Like the freshman can still learn from the senior, like, hey, like just because this girl's crap talking you doesn't mean like you should listen to her. But the senior can learn from the freshman saying, oh, like she's putting more weight on in the gym. She's running more. Maybe I will be better like that. So it's like you can learn from different ways. But I don't think that having that highly person or like thinking of yourself so highly, like that's an enemy. I don't like when people think about them like, oh, like just because I've been here and know how it goes, I should be playing.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think the enemy you're talking about, to me, when you were talking about that, I thought immediately about how it makes us shift into a fixed mindset. It's like
Hmm.
entitlement, right? Kind of gets us in that. It's like, oh, I've put in all this work. I've been here and done that. So I I'm here.
Yeah.
I don't need to do anything else and I deserve this certain amount. But I think also, and you touched on like when we start to think we know everything, and we stop growing because of that. Like you kind of said, things modernize, things change every year. And as soon as you stagnate, where are you going? I say it a lot in my coaching that you guys can't follow me if I'm a stop sign.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a relationship where you every day are pushing me to be better so I can pull you along to be better.
Yeah. I like to think like someone's story is another person's script. Like someone's lifestyle of how they lived can be my building portion of like how I can be like, oh, they did this in their life, like I can rely back on like that, and how can I take their story and make it my own individual one. But if they keep having stop blocks and they just like don't give the effort in as much because they don't care, then I'm like, oh, like what am I going to gain from it looking up as to my senior? As like the incoming freshman, and like I love staying in contact with them and like updating them and be like, hey, like just making sure, like, hey, if you have any questions, because like I was once them and I don't want to be like a stop person, be like, oh, like I'm not gonna talk to Ava because she just doesn't want to like she doesn't care about us, she doesn't reach out to me. I'm like, no, I do. It's like it's just being intentional and giving your careness, is that a word?
It is now.
It is now. It's my first language, so here I go. But like just putting like Karen and how much you love for what you're doing. And you can and I can like you can put a bunch of people in a room, and you can just see who actually loves what they do by the way they just stand there, look at what they're doing and just how they act. It's weird to think about it, but I it's hard, it's weird.
No, it's 100%. Your body language just sitting somewhere kind of speaks way more than your mouth can ever speak.
Hmm.
Kind of, you made me think again for like in service to others, and you talked about the incoming freshmen, and you were there at one point. I mean, how do you balance your experiences as a newbie somewhere? Let's say you're a freshman, right? Good and bad, your experience of coming in and what how people were to you, what you had to learn. If you balance that experience with like the expectations and standards of a program, how do you
Hmm.
help mold the way you communicate with the incoming class? That makes sense.
Yeah, I just have to think of an answer. Like, cause like I came in our my class was the first recruited class. So I came into a bunch of girls and a coach who didn't have the foundation set yet. It was there, but it was hard because I didn't know like how the program was going. I didn't know what you wanted from us yet. Like it was a lot of like okay, I will figure it out. But now that I'm in their position how it was last year, and the girls are coming now, I'm like, listen, like now we have the foundation. We're just at the concrete level, girl. Like we're just getting there. But I think that I Oh, I don't really know how to picture this. I'm picturing like we are like the ground, like my class is the concrete ground, but some of us are raised higher as like a stepping stool for the freshmen who can be in the next level. Like we're like stairs, and we're just gonna keep building the stairs. Because we know how the program is going, I think, and then oh, I don't know how to put this into words.
No, you're making sense.
I'm making sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So like we're like the stairs and then like some of us like if we're being more intentional or caring, we have a little bit higher and then the freshmen be like, "Oh, like I can rely on her, like I can talk to her," and then just keeps building and building and building. But I think as much like I said, as much more intentional you are, more like you have a relationship with them and be like, listen, like I know exactly how you're feeling because you're sharing your own story to them, and they're like, oh, like I know, like she went through this, or like she knows how I feel because she told me about it. So you can be a mentor and you can talk about all this, like, oh, I heard this from one person, but like if you're not sharing your own feelings, then I'm not going to feel like you ever actually know what I'm talking about. Which is like you have to be so raw with people, especially when they're picking a school to go to for the next 4 years or like scared to come in. Like I am being so raw and open to you right now that like I felt lost for a good year. I was like, I had no clue what I was doing. But you know what? I learned and here I am putting it on your plate because I'm going to feed you the best food advice I have for you right now.
So you made me think this about that and cycling back through like your
That was
experience.
rough.
It's like, so is there a combination of adding stairs, adding levels to the house, or
hmm
like you just said, what you just talked about made me think that we're elevating the foundation instead. Is do we only add so many stories to the house before we raise the foundation, or do we raise the foundation as we're adding stories?
I think we raise a foundation when everybody does their equal part. Because you can have a foundation, but you can have cracks in it. You can have unlevel portions of it, but it could still be a foundation. But I think we can raise it. Everybody just has to take part in it. Like, so yes, there's stairs, and yes, there's the ground, but I don't want a crack in my concrete. I don't like that. I like when everybody is connected and does their job and takes accountability and just loves each other for the game and for each and just playing for each other. That's what we do. Because Marissa just posted on Instagram. We play for each other. We lift each other up. We're not playing for ourselves because that's just being one piece of slab that's going to stick in the corner and be moldy and rusty. We're together in a
Moldy and
beautiful
rusty.
moldy and rusty. I don't know if that.
You're giving me lots of good material for the year.
Ah!
Um, um, so we've been talking a lot about how you serve your community, how you give into your community. What about the other side of that? How have you, when you felt you've needed stuff, how have you been able to tap into that community and grab the strength from what you gave so much to?
So I support my community because the community actually is my support system. I just the people that like so my dad, okay, my dad's a very big Facebook dad. He loves to post everything I do, even if I breathe. He's like, my daughter breathed today. Um, so those people that like just like I will go to like me meetings with him or like we'll do or like whatever, like okay, well hold on. Reverse. We'll go to our monthly meetings for like our archery camp we do, and just people be like that I don't even know, be like, hey, like I saw your dad's Facebook post, like or like your Instagram, like you look so good doing that. Like those random compliments that I don't even know who you are. Like I'm like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Like those people that I'm like, wait, like I'm building my community, but like it's just those like little like notes that people like leave. Like I will post myself or like go out and run a I'm running this like special needs carnival this weekend for the special needs community with my friend and just people who are just seem interested. I know. We're gonna have a fire truck. People who just were like, hey, like I want to take part in this. I want to help you out. Like that's what makes me proud that like I have people who also want to help out because they see me doing it. But it's not just me doing it. I have all this people's stories in my bag, hands that are pushing me through the door of the fire building, pushing me on the field, telling me to run faster. Or like I always think to myself like my grandfather who passed away a couple years ago, like he's always walking behind me. Or like the Lord always has a hand on my shoulder. Like those things I think about, I'm like, okay, someone's next to me. It's not just me helping the community. It's like me and everybody who has taught me how to do it is helping the community rather than just myself. Like I'm not trying to build my name. I'm not trying to make myself a picture person, be like, oh, like Ava Pass is like whatever. I'm just like, I'm not aiming for that. I just want to aim for people to appreciate the things that they have because of people who work so hard. I don't want people just being like, oh, I'm just so pretty.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
It might seem rude, but like that's
no, I don't think it's I think though it sounds like you do a good job of kind of internalizing what the community means to you
yeah.
so that because there's times when we have to go alone, right? There's
Oh, yeah.
times when we have are in whether it's learning a skill, whether it's your nose in your book, whether it's
Mhm.
some personal struggle. There's those times where we have to embrace that and go alone with it. But it
Yep.
sounds like you do a good job of tapping into like almost stored memories of your support group and your
Mhm.
successes and stuff like that that helps you through those individual struggles. Would you agree
Yeah.
with that?
Yeah. I think that especially like you're never alone if you have the Lord, and you're never alone if you have your grandpa or grandma or dad or mom with you, in memory or whatever, for some people. Um, but I always like to gain insight from, this is gonna sound weird. I love to gain insight from my elders because they know so much and it could be long talks. It could be very, very, very long talks. But you know what? I take those times and cherish them because you know what? We're not gonna have our elders for very long, and just to know how they went through certain things and like and how they thought, I'm like, you know what? Write that down. Write that down. I like to write a lot of things down. I mean, my iPad is my best friend because now that I got her, she's got a lot of good things in there from people that I talk to, in case like I'm taking over one of our positions for archery camp that we're doing. And the person who does it, he's been doing it for years. I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing. He's like, but this is easy because you know why? I'm going to show you this. And it was like a whole platform, and he was like, it's just I've been doing it long enough. And I'm just like, people need to respect and listen to their elders and people who are their mentors because you may think you have the best degree and everything, but you don't have the experience that they do. And that's why I love the community I have because they have all the experience and I'm just doing the work now because I'm capable to do it.
Yeah, I like creating more stories, more
Mhm.
scripts, like you talked about earlier. But I think the other thing I've talked about it recently a few times too. You talked about, oh, it's easy. I will show you how to do it. I think
Hmm.
it's one of those moments like if we could look at someone who's already doing something and know the steps to do it, I call it a recipe. If I gave you my ratatouille recipe, I think you could make it.
Yeah,
Right? You might make it a little different. You might put your flair on it a little, but
I might,
you'd
I
be
might
able to
learn.
do it. You might get rid of the eggplant. Um,
Ew.
so let's talk about competition within the community. And I feel a lot of times, and we can think about on field maybe, right? A lot of times we think of competition as being very, it's me or you. Whereas if we go back to kind of the root of the word, it means to strive together.
Hmm.
So, especially, let's say you're fighting for a starting spot against a couple other players. How do you, with that very community-based mindset you have, how do you balance that with the competition with what you want versus what everyone wants?
Um, hold on.
A good one, huh?
It's a good one. Good one that my brain ears are like working.
I'm good at those.
I When I have competition, I tend to not like to compare myself to them. Like I think comparing is a really bad enemy, especially for girls, because we compare ourselves to everything we see. But I think, ooh, hold on. Um, because I'm trying to like think about like so we all come from different backgrounds. Like, you can have a girl who's been all over the world doing tournaments and seeing all these other conferences, stuff like that, and then come to a D2 team and she's incredible, right? But I think back to that portion of like, are you taking that individual time and talking with the coach, knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are, taking that time with your parents, being like, hey, like this girl, like she's just so good and everything, but like I'm never gonna get up there. But I have a strong support system and I know that, but I don't know if she does. Maybe she just has herself and her brain that's thinking that. So I think that like, oh, I don't really know how to answer this question. Like,
Well, you're right. I, so
yeah.
how do you, I'll help you along here a little bit. How do you, like, by investing yourself in her getting better, how is that helping you? How is that pulling you along? And I'm talking from kind of like a what you want perspective. You want to be a starter. You're pumping a lot of your effort into making her better. How's that helping you out?
Um, oh wow. Oh my gosh, this is really bad. Okay, so because I'm probably gonna take what she's been doing, like her skill work and her time work, and implementing into my own like area of growth. And I think that makes like more of like a friendship rather than like a competition, and then like rather than a comparison, because I can think she's so highly of herself. She's so good at everything. But if I don't, I can try her ways. I can see what she's doing good, and maybe that will make me a better person. And then we can bond and be like, hey, like I'm seeing you're trying this skill I've been doing. Like maybe I can help you, or like I can ask her for advice, being instead of being like, oh, she's too good. She's never gonna talk to me. But taking that initiative step and being like, I want to be like you. Show me your ways, please, por favor. Um, and I think that it's very scary for a lot of girls, especially in collegiate athletes, because they see those other teams and they're all doing great and everything. But like, have you watched the film? Have you tried to watch what they do all the time instead of just like watching their highlights and be like, oh, shit, they just do that. Um, is that what you're looking for?
I,
Question mark.
however you answered it was what I was looking for. But what I really liked about that is I think the showing of each other, the showing of your community that you're not at least outwardly jealous or envious or some of those really destructive feelings we can have. I think
Yeah.
by showing that we start to build the vulnerability you were talking about earlier and kind of that
Yeah.
trust area where it's like, oh, she actually does want to make me better, even though she's fighting for the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
What's that saying? The rising tide brings all boats with it or all ships with it or something.
Yeah.
So I
Like,
think it's that.
yeah, I mean, I don't wish like when I am doing classes or whatever, and like I don't want to, no one want to wish harm on anybody or like oh like, she's gonna fail because she's not doing as much. But like just because she's struggling with it doesn't mean I can come down from my little level and be like, hey, like I'm gonna lift you up with me. Like we all come together just because you're struggling with one. That was easy for me. No, because you know what? That was me one time, and we're all gonna be there at the same time again. So I think we should all stay together and work together because that's better than watching others fail, especially the freshmen coming in because it's going to be
How
hard.
how
And
hard is that though when like you really want something and then all of a sudden the person you're going against for it kind of stumbles a little bit. How hard is it to fight the yes, now it's mine and kind of be like, oh, here, I'll help you up.
um, I personally, I don't think, I mean, I don't do that a lot because, like I said, I put people before myself. It's very bad sometimes. But from what I've used to do, like I've heard, it's very hard because people are like, oh, now it's easy. Like now the road is finished. I'm right there. But then I mean, I watched one of these clips, like there was like a marathon or something, and the two brothers were running at each other, and the one brother was like stumbling over because he was like getting so overly exhausted, but the brother next to him was winning, but the good brother like picked him up over his shoulder and carried him to the finish line. I'm like, that's what we talk about. I mean, crap, you can have all the trophies you want. But who's going to be celebrating you when the time comes? Nobody, because you didn't help anybody. Like, I don't really care about the plaques or trophies. Yes, yes, they're great. Yes, they're nice and shiny. But like, you know what? They're not. As I look at my trophy, I'm like, how many people smiled at me? How many people came up to me and said, "I'm proud of you"? How many friends did I gain from that? Like, that's what I care about because those are long term. The trophy can sit there in my basement and collect dust for all it matters, okay? But the friends that I gain from it is more important to me than having a blue patch that's to my wall. Because I have a trophy that, or like a plaque that says leadership, and there's people that signed it. That's what I care about, rather than having a picture. But
I liked how aggressive you got on the dust, to collect dust. Um,
yeah,
but
sorry.
no, so no, it's don't be sorry. The good point about that is like, you always hear it, like you'll forget about your trophies and your victories, but you'll remember the relationships,
Oh.
kind of thing. The two other things you said that I found interesting, I'm probably going to forget the first one, but the one about the brother putting the other one on the back, it's like I could have won,
Hmm.
but I decided it was more important for all of us to finish,
Yes.
which I think is which is an interesting comment. Oh, I know what the other one was then. The other one was like when someone stumbles and you're like, yes, now it's mine. It's like that. I think that gets back to the entitlement or the I don't need to learn anything. I think all of a sudden it's mine and
Hmm.
I can stop trying to grow or push myself forward because I think, oh, I made it. But
Yeah.
have you?
Yeah, it's kind of like when we get put, so during my boot camp, we were put into groups, okay? And there are times where like my group would fall behind, but doesn't mean I get to go ahead and be like, "Oh, like I did the session so good." No, They are dragging along the same rope as I am. Like we're all going together, and at the end of the day, they are going on the finish line first before me, even though I could have gotten there 10 minutes ago because we're all gonna be working together at some point, or even on the field hockey field when we're running our sprints. And I see someone when we're all finished and someone's still running, I will go run with them because you know what? They are not alone because I was there one time when I was the last one or the first one or whatever. Um, and then I just and then that community sense of me doing the action because I know that they were in the same position I was because someone ran with me when that happened. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing that favor back. And that's why I serve my community a lot because I've been in their position multiple times. And it's just putting that storyline in my head, like I said before. Like I love people. Well, okay, I love people, but
I
yeah.
would agree with that. You made me think of like kind of from a leading perspective, and I'm not talking a titled leadership perspective, but just anybody leading from where they're at.
Hmm.
And how how different are the challenges from being in that team that's like ahead all the time and being successful all the time to a team that's struggling a little bit and like how what are the different challenges in doing those two groups? Because on the one, I feel like, you're the first place team, you can get complacent a little bit.
Hmm.
Whereas if you're the bottom team, you can kind of give up. And maybe in the middle you're hungry, but can you talk to like how the difference in serving your teams are in those scenarios?
Yeah, so I think that when you're a winning team, so I came from a high school where we were winning, 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 and it was great. But I didn't have a relationship with the girls. I just was expected to score every single game. I was expected to run my full because, but if I had a crap game and I didn't score two goals like I usually do, I was looked at differently. I was like, "Oh, what are you doing? Like that's not you." But then now that we're on a new team who is gaining that, advantage of like, hey, like we all came from strong teams, but like now we're building our own team. I'm actually enjoying my time with the team rather than focusing on winning, winning, winning. And yeah, it's difficult when you get beat all the time. No one wants to go to a game and want to get beat. That's not the overall objective. But I want to go to a game with girls who I know will have my back, who I know will love me, instead of looking at me and be like, if you don't score today, I'm not talking to you for the rest of the week till practice. Or if you don't score today, I'm gonna kick your shins at practice. Like, I don't want that. Like, I'd be like, if you don't score today, you know what? I'm gonna do it for you. I got your back. I'm gonna pass it hard for you next time. Like that's when I want the motivation instead of looking at a big team that wins all the time because then you just hear the girls bickering each other, be like, or like smirking off, be like, you know what? She wasn't as fast today. I'm just like, who the heck cares? You know what? We all played the best we could. We all played what we can, what we gave into it. That's all that matters for each other. I don't want to play to be freaking Ava Trepaz has 17 goals every single game. No. Ava Trepaz has maybe 17 assists because I help my players. I love assists more than goals. That's just my, yeah, see? Yeah. I love assists more than goals.
Hey,
Um,
the thing is, if there's an assist, there has to be a goal. So,
exactly. So you know what? That's yeah. And that's why I rather have gone. That's why I chose Roberts for big thing because it was a new program, fresh start, than coming from a team that I just felt like I had to be so good every single day. And it was hard when I didn't because then I was like I was looked at like a teeny weeny ant and I didn't like that. So
well, you're talking about labels, right? That
labels.
you're labeled as a field hockey player, and your worth is what you can contribute on the pitch while we're playing.
Yep.
But it's like in those times of struggle, like if I'm having a total off day and struggling and my body language is that way. And
Hmm.
maybe it's up to can I look at myself outside of my label to not, for my self-worth, but how do you look at that teammate and pull them out of their funk by making them see their value in a more global perspective, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think kind of figuring out an answer for this question is like, oh, I don't, because like I know when I can see a lot of times when like our we are playing and like the girls like that we know are very strong are having off days. I think this last year we got really anxious of like calling them out or calling them up. I don't like calling out, calling them up because we didn't know what they wanted to or not. But then when we all did like our little communication cards of like, I love being told orders. I love being yelled at and telling what the heck I gotta do because I like being assertive. I don't like that wishy-washy stuff. But some kids like wishy-washy like feedback, which is good, which is okay. I mean, but like it's also taking that time and pulling them on the side, be like, hey, like you, I can see you're having a rough day, but I'm not calling you out. I'm saying that take this energy, this emotion, and the hardships that you're going through, and whatever's in your mind, and you know what? Slam that freaking ball in the back of the net till I hear it break. Because you know what? Everybody's gonna have a hard day, and I understand that. But I don't want to make that an excuse for me not playing good enough for my team. Like, some things will be hard to the point that like yes that's a personal thing, but take those excuses and put on the field because you know what, I know I'm worthy, know I'm strong, I know I can play, and I'm doing this for my team because we're all working together. So I get really aggressive. I'm getting
No,
aggressive.
it's the first thing you made me think of when you were talking about, wishy-washy, squishy kind of things.
Squishy,
They, like
spongy.
based on what you like to do off the pitch with your training and that stuff, there can't be wishy-washy or squish. The stakes are too high, right?
Mm.
And it's like the other side of that is I don't have a lot of structure at all, but I'm very creative and free forming and reactive, not reactive, maybe responsive to what's going on and adaptable. How do
Mhm.
you how do you balance those two worlds? How do you balance a nice structured things need to get done this way with a hey, there's wiggle room within there.
I think that the guidelines or protocols are like your walls. Like you have at least the structure up, but the inside and with everybody's opinions is gonna be that wishy-washy stuff. But I think we can start room by room in the house and be like, okay, like let's do the living room first. Let's do our actionable. What can we do actionably? Let's go to the kitchen. What can we make up? What creative ideas can we put from our office, from our training room to the field? Um, but as long as we have those borders of like, we have to, like our team, four core values, those are our four walls of our house. We have to follow those. We have to live by those. Inside of like how it's what we do with them. Like the outside of the house can look pretty, but the walls inside, the insulation can be showing, the wires everywhere. How are we going to fix that now? And we have to do it because you know what? Once the water runs and the wires are out, it's going to be a hot mess, and we don't want that. And now there's going to be more people moving into this house. I think that we should have our own separate like little like closet spaces, but the room is a like an idea platter where we're like, okay, your idea kind of matches my idea. What can we put together to make it more of like a team idea rather than having like constrict or like what's the word?
Yeah,
Oh,
constrained.
const
Yeah, constrict. Yeah,
yeah, see, I was working there. I was working.
I got you. I got you.
Okay, yeah. So, and I think that we get ourselves caught up a lot when we talked about our Mansfield game and we all were like bonding in the locker room crying our eyes out. That was such a wholesome moment and raw and vulnerable moment that our core values stood back right up because you know what? We were all locked in and we are like, okay, now we know how everybody feels because we're all actually talking to each other and we're gonna live up in our little house because I think some of us kind of moved out in sleeping bags and slept on the outside of the grass. Which I don't like the grass because it's wet. We're gonna go back inside where it's warm and cozy and comfortable and caring and loved. And we're gonna put our vulnerability and our actionable character inside this house and clean the heck of it up. Because I like that. I'm getting
That,
angry.
I Mansfield locker room is one of my
Oh,
favorite early memories of
favorite.
this team, just for like
Yes.
the light bulb moment of it. You could just see, you could see, you could see the vulnerability and some of the attachments being made stronger through that moment, which I thought was really cool. That was raising the foundation, what we've
Oh
built
heck
on
yeah.
since. And kind of to your point, it's like the four walls are up, but you can paint the walls of your living room whatever color you want.
Mm-hmm.
And it might get painted a different color every year. So I, I want to be respectful of your time.
Oh, I don't mind.
I appreciate that you came on today, and I think this is a great place to end it. That man, get your house in order. We we,
Bruh.
we know what it looks like. Just like let's get it together here, right?
Heck yeah. And then like every couple like once we all get in the foundation, we can add another level to it. But I think for this incoming year to end off, I think we're still on the first floor. We just have to finish up the stairs because I think we set the tone after that Mansfield game. And I'm so excited for this coming freshman and to are you guys seeing you soon?
Uh, yeah, soon. You're probably the only one that's excited, but that's cool. I'll take one.
No, Amy's excited. I actually called Amy the other day and she was very happy. She
And
was like, Amy with the purple suitcase.
oh boy, I don't know if you'll see the purple suitcase.
Is it
And you made me that team three, right? We're competing with consistency this year,
me,
so
man?
that'll be wow, it's
Getting
crazy.
old.
I know, right? Ava, I appreciate you. This was
Of course.
awesome, and we'll have to do it again.
Okay. Yay.
Take care. See ya.
See ya.